When the writers of Game of Thrones drastically changed the direction of the Northern storyline after seasons 4 and 5, many of the characters introduced into A Dance with Dragons either didn't make it into the show, or if they did, they were almost unrecognisable from the characters they were based on. In a lot of cases, characters in the show were given the names of those from the book, but were ultimately fundamentally different in terms of their character, their looks and their actions in the story, to the extent they might as well have been named something original. Alys Karstark is a perfect example of this. Alys is a noblewoman of House Karstark and is the only daughter of Lord Rickard Karstark, the Lord of Karhold. She was born around the year 284 AC, making Alys about 14 or 15 years of age at the start of the main books. She is described in the text as tall, skinny, coltish girl. She weaves her brown hair into a braid in the typical northern fashion. She's also said to have pale skin, with a long face and pointed chin, with blue-green eyes and small ears. Before the events of the first book, when she was 6 years old, Alys and her father, Lord Rickard, visited Winterfell. Despite Alys's young age at the time, Rickard wanted her to charm Robb Stark in the hope of arranging a betrothal between the two. She did indeed dance with Robb, whom she considered courteous. She also danced with his bastard half-brother, Jon Snow, who she described as sullen. By the start of the books, Alys is now betrothed to Darin Hornwood, heir to Hornwood. They are waiting for her to flower before they marry, which is typically the custom when it comes to marriage, but not necessarily a given. However, during the first book, A Game of Thrones, at the onset of the War of Five Kings, after Eddard Stark is arrested for treason, Alys is betrothed Darin Hornwood, as well as two of her brothers, Eddard and Torrin, are killed at the Battle of the Whispering Woods by Sir Jaime Lannister. Later on, during the events of A Storm of Swords, after the escape of Jaime Lannister from captivity at Riverrun, Lord Rickard Karstark promises Alys's hand in marriage to anyone who brings him the Kingslayer. Vargo Hoat maims and captures Jaime with the hopes of gaining Alys's hand in marriage, which would give him a chance to become the Lord of Karhold. Robb Stark, the king in the north, later executes Alys's father Rickard for treason for murdering the captive Willem Lannister and Tion Frey for the revenge for the deaths of his sons at the hands of Jaime. Melisandre, the Red Priestess of R'hllor in the service of Stannis Baratheon, while at Castle Black, prophesies to Jon Snow, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, of a grey girl on a dying horse, riding to the wall to escape an arranged marriage. Melisandre believes this to be Jon's half-sister, Arya Stark, who is supposed to marry Ramsay Bolton, even though this Arya Stark is a fake. Jon, as a result of Melisandre's vision, sends Mance Rayder with 6 spearwives south to aid in her escape from Bolton captivity at Winterfell. By this time, Alys Karstark has now flowered at Karhold. Arnolf Karstark, the Castellan of Karhold and the uncle of Alys's late father, hopes to wed the girl to his son, Cregan Karstark. Arnolf also declares for Stannis Baratheon to goad the Iron Throne into executing the rightful heir of Karhold, Alys's brother Harrison. To avoid marrying Cregan, Alys flees and seeks aid from Jon Snow at the Wall. A weakened Alys is found on a dying horse near Molestown and brought to the chambers of Maester Aemon at Castle Black. Alys reveals to Jon that Arnolf plans to betray Stannis on behalf of Lord Roose Bolton, the new Warden of the North. When Cregan arrives at Winterfell to claim Alys, he is thrown into an ice cell by Jon. Alys resents Robb for killing her father. She knows for what crimes her father was executed, but it does not make much of a difference for her. Since Jon belongs to the Night's Watch, there is no blood feud between them, and she asks for his help to save both her and Stannis from Arnolf. Jon quickly sends Tychonis Doris to find Stannis and to warn him of the traitors in his host. Arnolf and his son Arthur and their 3 grandsons are arrested, and Stannis intends to execute them. If they admit their guilt, they will be given the same swift death Robb Stark gave Rickard. If not, they will be burned alive. Sir Patrick of King's Mountain hopes to wed Alys, but Jon instead arranges for Alys to marry Sigorn, Magnar of the Thenn, building bridges between the freefolk from beyond the wall and those to the south of it. In doing this, Jon is responsible for the creation of a new noble house, House Thenn. This new House Thenn would be able to claim Karhold should Harrison Karstark perish. 2 of Cregan's men join Alys, who believed that Karhold would open its gates to Sigorn's 200 Thenns. During the wedding, which is performed at Castle Black by Melisandre. Alys wears lace in her hair and leaps across a flaming ditch with her new husband. Because of the arrival of winter, Jon advises Alys during the wedding feast to send Carholds, old men and spare boys to help at the wall. Sigorn is reluctant to dance at the feast, but he does enjoy dancing with Alys once he is drunk, until the Winds of Winter is released. That is all we currently know of Alys Karstark. Now, technically, Alys Karstark does appear in seasons 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones, but none of her book plot make it into the show, given how the show diverged greatly from the source material when it came to A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons. In the show, this Alys is the head of House Karstark after the downfall alongside the Boltons. During a war council with Jon Snow, who is now the king in the north, they discuss how to deal with the White Walker threat. It's during this meeting that Alys is called upon to swear fealty to Jon, which she does. Her role for the rest of the show is very minor, mostly being used to bring the Karstark troops to Winterfell, and for the final battle with the others, in which she is killed. Thus, like discussed at the start of this video, this version of Show Alys is Alys Karstark in name only, and not anything like her book counterpart.